to your new beginning. I'm Erica Latrice, and today's message, if you caught the title, it says get packed. And I feel like I just have so many videos that I'm catching up on and just pouring out to encourage you all. And this one has been coming up over and over and over. And I feel like I just did a video that said, get ready to move. But this message is for you. If you've been praying for confirmation in this area, please do not go anywhere. Grab your notepad. If you want to read along with me, I'll be reading from Genesis 12. Genesis 12. So go ahead and grab that. You'll have about 20 seconds. And if you haven't done so yet, subscribe here to this channel. Tell someone about it. Or if you want to hear the whole message before you subscribe, I understand. So I'll be right back. When I come back, I'm getting into this message about moving. So I'll be right back. All right, let's jump in. Genesis 12. And I'm going to try not to read the whole thing because it's kind of long. But I know I get into it and I'm like, the word alone is the word. I literally could just read to you all and then call it a day and let everyone just go into their secret place with God to get the interpretation and the message. But I want to go ahead and start reading. I'm in Genesis 12, verse 1, and it says, Then the Lord said to Abram, leave your country, your kindred, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and curse those who curse you, and all the families of the earth will be blessed through you. So Abram departed as the Lord had directed him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. And Abram took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all the possessions and people they had acquired in Haran, and set out for the land of Canaan. When they came to the land of Canaan, Abram traveled through the land as far as the site of the oak of Moreh at Shechem. And at that time, the Canaanites were in the land. Then the Lord appeared to Abram and said, I will give you this land to your offspring. So Abram built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. From there, Abram moved on to the hill country east of Bethel, pitched his tent with Bethel to the west and Ai to the east. There he built an altar to the Lord, and he called on the name of the Lord. And Abram journeyed on toward Negev. Now, this is verse 10, there was a famine in the land. So Abram went down to Egypt to live there for a while because the famine was severe. I'm going to pause. That story is so good. I would encourage you again to read Genesis 12 because it goes on to talk about how he lied about who Sarah was. And it just, all these things unfolded. And by the time it was all said and done, he came out better in the middle of a famine than when they went into that place. And yes, Abraham was out there lying in these streets that are misleading them because he didn't want them to harm him because of how beautiful his wife was. But what I want to talk about is the promise. And one of these things that I want to just encourage you of when it comes to these messages like this, a lot of us want to hear, and the Bible talks about itching ears and things like that. And it's not even that we all have like itching ears. A lot of us, can deal with that, the itching ears. But some of it is just like wanting to make sure you're in the will of God. Well, what I want to encourage you of is what we see right here. Then the Lord said to Abram. So if there is anything that you have been praying about and you've been trying to get direction and you're wondering, where is God? God, where do you want me to go? How will you lead me? Then the Lord said to Abram. So God speaks to us. He speaks to us through his word. God speaks to us today. The same God that spoke to Abram is, again, like I said, alive and well today. Then on verse 7, it says, then the Lord appeared to Abram. So throughout his journey, when he was being called to go into a place that he hadn't been before, when he was being called to step into his inheritance, when he was being called into the great nation that God promised he would bless him with, making his name great, another thing that people don't want to talk about today, so that he would be a blessing. And God said he was going to bless those who bless Abram, and he was going to curse those who curse Abram. These are things people don't really want to talk about right now, and that's fine. But the encouragement to me is that God still speaks to us today. And not only that, when it gets to that place where it's just time to move, it's so important that you are hearing God for yourself, that you are being quiet, that you are seeking God to know what's next, because he can make you flourish, prosper in the face of a famine. And that's why I wanted to read all the way down to that point. In the face of a famine where everyone may be freaking out and I'm sure they were stressed out in the land of Egypt, going through some things because they were literally in the middle of a famine. But by the time that Abraham and Sarah left, and you can skip down to verse 20, then Pharaoh gave his men orders concerning Abram, and they sent him away with his wife and all his possessions. When he left, he had everything that he came with in the middle of a famine. So he went out, he, his wife, all his possessions, and Lot was with him. And Abram, this is verse 1 in Genesis 13, verse 1 and 2. And Abram had become extremely wealthy in livestock, in silver, and gold. And he had literally just experienced a whole famine. And I want to tell you all this today because your obedience is always going to be better than sacrifice. Your obedience, when God says move, move. And I'm not just talking about a geographical move. I'm talking about a move of any sort. If God is calling you to move out into ministry, if God is telling you to move into business, if God is telling you to move out of that job that's compromising your morals every day, if God is telling you to move on from that relationship, whatever he is telling you to pack up, pack up. And how do we know how God is speaking to us? That's getting into that quiet place. That's seeking God. Why would Jesus tell us to pray to God, your will be done? Your will. With that expectation that we would know God's will. It's with the expectation that God will reveal, just like he did to Abram, his will for you, his will for your life. And I just want to encourage you all because I'm seeing this so much. A lot of these messages that have been coming to me, and some of them I've been saving, I'm seeing it in real life. I'm seeing people move. I'm seeing people shift into totally new like trajectories, levels, experiences like never before. And it actually reminds me, and I'll just tell you guys this quick story. This has happened to me multiple times, but there are two instances that stand out to me. And if these two women are watching, then they know that I'm telling you the absolute truth. And I don't know, I borderline would love for them to come on and share their testimonies. But there are two women in particular, one that I went to elementary school with, and I had not talked to her in years. And out of the blue, as an adult, I had a dream about her, and we were at a baby shower for her and in the dream. And it was just exciting. And so I reached out to her, and this was a long time ago, so I don't even remember all the details. But I reached out to her because when I have dreams that vivid, I'm like, maybe I should, tell the person. So I told her about the dream. I did not know she had been experiencing miscarriages, and she had never carried, to my understanding, a baby to a long enough term to even have a baby shower. So that baby shower was just confirmation to her that this next pregnancy was going to make it. And she did. She delivered her baby to full term. Child has grown up now, because this was years and years ago. There was another instance where I had a dream of a woman with having a baby boy. And so I reached out to her. This was, again, someone I wasn't like super close to or anything. So it was odd to me that I'm like, man, this dream was so vivid. But I reached out to her and told her, lo and behold, she ended up having a baby boy. And it was just confirmation. And I'm saying this because God will use other people to confirm things to us. I believe it and I know it firsthand. I've seen it and experienced it in my life. But when we get that confirmation, it's up to us to be like Abram, where he was obedient. He left. He said, leave your country. Abram left. And many times we'll hold on to whatever God has already told us to let go of. He's trying to give you a glimpse into that next phase. But meanwhile, we're holding on to it because we think that what we have is better than what we'll ever get. I'm sure he was comfortable, but what was ahead for him was to become a great nation. What was ahead for him was blessings. Even what was ahead for him, he could have gone into that place. And many of you may be seeing this, of a famine where it looked like, why did I even listen? Why did I listen? I'm here. God, I listened to you. And now it's a whole famine going on. Now I'm sad because I left the relationship, whatever it may be. Well, I'm here today to tell you, to confirm to you, to encourage you that on the other side of that famine, he walked out with extreme wealth. Genesis 13:1. So Abram went up out of Egypt into the Negev, he and his wife with all his possessions. Lot was with them, and Abram had become extremely wealthy in livestock, in silver, and gold. And you guys can read this for yourself. Read all of Genesis when you get a chance. I say read from Genesis to Revelation when you get a chance. But it's just such encouragement today. So if God is telling you to pack, pack. If God is telling you to prepare, prepare. If God is telling you to leave, leave. If God is telling you to release, release. There was another time, and I feel like I share this story. So if you haven't heard my testimony, I talked about this with the house. But I just been in my quiet time. That's all that kept coming up was to pack. And I was only partly obedient. And I didn't realize a storm was actually coming. The storm came and took most everything that I owned. And had I been obedient and packed, I would have been able to save way more. I lost merchandise, books. I lost so many things that if I would have just been obedient and packed, I wouldn't have. But it's all good. It was just confirmation to me as I look back that God will speak to you just like he did with Abram, to show you where to go and what to do. And your job is simply to be obedient. So pack, if that's been on your heart, if again, I've been seeing a lot of actual tangible geographical moves. But then even outside of that, status changes, transitions, God calling people to release, to start fresh in a new arena, people to release and do something again that maybe they put down years ago. Whatever it is for you, I'm telling you right now, I'm encouraging you today to move, get packed, whether it's spiritually packed, mentally packed, physically packed, wherever God is leading you, do it, be obedient, and you will not be disappointed. So that's my message for you all today. I pray that this encouraged you. If it did, subscribe here to the channel, tell someone, tag someone, share your testimony. If you have a testimony of packing, email me at info@ericalatrice.com. And if you have not joined my online community, Amplify Her, we have events coming up, so many exciting things, resources for you all. And we do a monthly prayer call. I'll be hopping on Zoom. So if you want to take part in that prayer call, I'll be posting it here, depending on where you're watching it, or you can join us in the group so you can find out about it ahead of time. And that's going to amplifyher.group. Or you can go to amplifyherlounge.com to join if you're not on Facebook. So that's it, y'all. Go be amazing. Go out and make today so amazing that people can't help but get excited when they come in contact with you. I love you all and take care.